Good morning, dear children. How are you all? I hope you all are staying safe at home. Children, now we are going to talk about in the same chapter, chapter number 16, the four realms of the earth. We are going to talk about the hydrosphere. So children, what do you think? What is the hydrosphere? It is also the another zone of the earth, right? So we have already seen in the video that hydro means the water. So we are going to talk about the water which is there on the earth. As we all know, there is more than 71% of water on the earth, and that is why our earth, when we go out from the earth, that is in the space, and when we look at the earth, it seems like blue, right? And that is why it is known as the blue planet. So here we are going to talk about the hydrosphere. Children, hydro means water, and water is very necessary for our life. We can live without food for few days, might be for more than 1 month, right? But if there is no water, we cannot live more than 2 or 3 days. So water is the basic necessity of our life. Now, where is the water? Water is everywhere. If you will see in the ponds, lakes, rivers, oceans, seas. So water is everywhere. But the drinking water, which is known as the fresh water or the water which we can drink, is only 1% available to us. So we should always be very wise enough while using the water. Now I am going to talk about the water which changes the form. You have seen lot of things, right? Like you have seen the kettle which has a water, and when we boil that water, then the water vapor comes out of that kettle. So that is the water form only, but it is in the gaseous form. So water is available in the liquid in the ocean, seas, lakes, etc. But if we warm that water, whether it can be with the help of gas stove or something, or with the help of the sunlight, right? So the water cannot be boiled in a sea or oceans, but when the sun is very high, right, especially in summer, so that gets evaporated, the water gets evaporated and it forms the water vapor. So that is the gaseous state of the water. Now we will talk about the solid state of the water. So children, you have seen lot of time in Alwar only, there is a hailstorm, right? Hail means ole, right? So that hailstorm is a solid form of the water, and if you will go towards the mountains, especially when you go towards the Himalayas, you will see the cap of that Himalaya. You can say the top layer of the Himalaya, that is always covered with the snow. So that snow is also the solid form of the water. And why it is like that? Because as we go up, the temperature of the place decreases and the pressure decreases. So due to the temperature of that place, the water changes into the solid form, and which is known as the snow. So there is a hydrological cycle for this, and the other name for the hydrological cycle is the water cycle. So I am giving you a very simple glance about it. Just have a look. Let us understand what is the hydrological cycle. Can you see this water? This is in the liquid form, right? So this water when rises up, it rises up like this, right? This rises up due to the sun. The energy that it gets from the sun, it rises up and it forms the water vapor. And then the water vapor when gets collected over there, right? So the water vapor gets collected here and they form the condensation, right? So that will be the condensation process, because as the air rises up, as the water vapor rises up, it gets mixed with the air, and the cool air makes again the water and in the form of clouds. Then these clouds again precipitates. That means it comes down as the rain. So this is how the hydrological cycle goes on. The water gets heated up, it becomes the water vapor. Then again, as it mixes with the air, then again it forms the clouds. When the clouds become heavy, then they precipitate. First condensation happens when the clouds form, right? They join and form a big cloud, and this is known as the condensation. And when the rain comes, so that is the precipitation of the water, right? And this is how the cycle goes on in the nature, and this cycle is known as the hydrological cycle or the water cycle. Children, I am going to send you a very beautiful song of water cycle that you will learn, and you will be able to know the water cycle very beautifully with that video. Thank you and have a nice day.
On the earth, the water cycle takes the water and moves it up and down and all around the earth. The water cycle takes the water and moves it up and down and all around the earth. The water cycle takes the water and moves it up and down and all around the earth. Evaporation comes when the heat from the sun warms up all the groundwater, then it turns to water vapor. Condensation takes over, it goes up to the clouds. Water vapor cools down and it changes to a liquid. Precipitation happens when the drops get big. It falls like rain, snow, sleet, and hail upon my head. I know it's the water cycle happening again. Evaporation, condensation, precipitation. The water cycle takes the water and moves it up and down and all around the earth. The water cycle takes the water and moves it up and down and all around the earth. Evaporation comes when the heat from the sun warms up all the groundwater, then it turns to water vapor. Condensation takes over, it goes up to the clouds. Water vapor cools down and it changes to a liquid. Precipitation happens when the drops get big. It falls like rain, snow, sleet, and hail upon my head. I know it's the water cycle happening again. Evaporation, condensation, precipitation. The water cycle takes the water and moves it up and down and all around the earth. The water cycle takes the water and moves it up and down and all around the earth. Evaporation comes when the heat from the sun warms up all the groundwater, then it turns to water vapor. Condensation takes over, it goes up to the clouds. Water vapor cools down and it changes to a liquid now. Precipitation happens when the drops get big. It falls like rain, snow, sleet, and hail upon my head. I know. It's the water cycle happening again. Evaporation, condensation, precipitation. The water cycle